In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to renumber a rule. Renumbers are a type of permanent filing that are not required to go through the Notice of Proposed Rulemaking process. Renumbers do not allow changes to any part of the rule on the maintenance screen. Any changes that need to be made to the rule text or other information will be done through the Notice of Proposed Rulemaking process after the renumber is completed. So after logging in to OARD, we will click Oregon Admin Rules. Then, if we have multiple chapters assigned to us, we will need to select the one we are working in. From the Rules dashboard, we will scroll down to our current chapter rules. Then we will locate the rule that we would like to renumber. Then, once we have found our rule, we click Start Draft. Next, under Rule Action, we select Renumber. The page is refreshed and we see two new fields here. Here we can select the division we want to move the rule to if we're changing divisions, and then here we will enter a new rule number. If you're moving a rule to a new chapter, down here you need to select the radio button next to Different Chapter. The page will reload, and then you will be able to select what chapter you'd like to move it to. For this example, let's keep the rule in the same division and just change the rule number slightly to 4. You'll notice there's a check availability box here, but go ahead and click that to see if this rule number is available. This rule number is available. If you get the error that the rule number is not available, there are a few different reasons that could be. The first is that there is already a rule with that number. The second is that there was a temporary rule that used that number and expired. The third is that there was a rule using that number that was repealed. Rule numbers cannot be reused, so they will not be available to use anytime in the future. Scrolling down, since we are doing a renumber, none of these fields will be available for editing for us. If you desire to make any changes to these after renumbering, you will go through the temporary or permanent rulemaking process. Down here in the rule summary, we will need to fill something in, like why we're renumbering this rule. Renumbering rule for reorganization of rules is very generic. You might have something a little more descriptive you could put in here. Scrolling down, we want to be sure to reattach any rule attachments that the rule had before we renumbered it. This rule did not have an attachment, so we don't need to worry about that. Then we will click Accept. Now our rule draft moves to the rules work queue in the accepted status. You can see here it shows what the old rule number was and what the new rule number will be. Now we will select this rule, and under this drop-down list we will select Permanent, and then we will click Create New Filing. What we have now done is created a permanent administrative order and attached our accepted rule draft to it. The agency approved date is a field you should be familiar with by now. This is the date that the agency, board, commission, or council approved this renumber. Let's say it was approved today. The effective date is when we want this to take effect. Let's also say today. For the filing caption, we'll want to put something descriptive in using no more than 15 words. We will scroll down here, see all the rules in this permanent filing. You could do multiple renumbers in a single filing. You would just need to repeat the first steps of this process and check all the boxes next to the rules that you want to include in the filing. For filing contact information, I'll put in some generic things. And then lastly, we will need to click that an authorized signer has reviewed and authorized this filing. Now we can save this filing to submit it later, or we can go ahead and submit it now. Our filing was successfully submitted. Continue to monitor OARD until it is published under the filing's final queue. Do not consider this filing completed until you see that it has been published. We click OK, and we are returned to our dashboard. Here we can see our Renumber filing in our Filings work queue. Once the Administrative Rules Unit reviews and publishes it, it will move down to the filing's final queue. If there are any issues with the filing, it will be returned to us, and it will show up in the Filings work queue with red text saying returned, and it will have a due date by which corrections will need to be submitted. Then it will be reviewed again and hopefully published and will appear down here in the filing's final queue.